Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode. On today's game, I'm going to be reviewing another game on the road to 2000. So on this game, I was playing as white. So without any further ado, let's get into it. On this game, I started with the queen's pawn opening. Then my opponent also responded with the queen's pawn opening to d5. Then I played the London system. Then my opponent also kind of played the London system, or maybe it's just a defense. Then I played the Zouk thought variation with the knight to f3. My opponent responded with pawn to f6. Then I played pawn to e3. Then my opponent played another inaccuracy move, playing pawn to c6. Probably should have developed the other pieces, not only just the bishop. So instead I played pawn to c4. Then my opponent played queen to a5 with a check. Then I covered that with the knight, which is the best move. But I think it's the only move because if I defend with the queen or move the king, I lose the chances of castling in the future. So closing with the knight is the best move. Then my opponent played pawn to e6. Then I played pawn to a3, looking to chase away the queen. Then the queen plays to b6. Then I played pawn to b4. The best move here, the computer prefers knight to a4, chasing the queen with the knight, but instead I played pawn to b4. Then my opponent played pawn to a6. I'm not sure what my opponent was trying to do. Maybe open up the square for the queen, or maybe just moving the pawn for future ideas. But the computer evaluates that as a mistake. Then I played pawn to c5, which is an inaccuracy, but I saw it as strengthening my pawn structure. So chasing away the queen and also strengthening the pawn structure. Then the queen went back to the original square to d8. Then I played bishop to d3, looking for this trade here. Then my opponent ignored that, then played the best move. But taking the bishop is also the best move in this position. And playing the knight to e7 is also a good move, I guess. Then I played knight to h4. My only mistake in this game. This is the mistake that I made. But this mistake doesn't really affect me that much. The best move here was just to take the bishop and then the knight will have taken, I guess. But I played knight to h4, also targeting the bishop. Then my opponent made the blunder. The best move here for my opponent was just to take the bishop. Then I'll have to take back maybe with the queen, then play this move. This is what works in this position. This move is not a fork, by the way, because the bishop can take the knight there, so it's not a fork. So my opponent didn't do that, of course. Instead they played this move early, which they would have played it after they played the trade of bishops here. Then I took back the bishop. Then my opponent made a mistake. The best move was to take the knight back and ignore the black squared bishop, or the dark green squared bishop in this case. So my opponent took the bishop instead. Then I had this move, knight to d6 with a check. Now the king has to move and the king has only one square to move, and of course that's a forced move or a forced check. Then I played knight to f7 with the queen and a rook fork. Then my opponent played queen to e6 to e8. Then I just took back I didn't take back, I took the rook. Then my opponent took the pawn on e3. Then I took back with my pawn. Then my opponent played the best move again, playing bishop to e6, targeting the pawn and also targeting my knight at the end of the board. Then I played queen to f3, opting to protect the pawn instead. Then my opponent took the free knight. It's not really free, but it's a free knight. Then I castle, which is the best move in this position. Then my opponent moved the pawn that was under threat there. Then I played knight to a4, looking to attack the king. Then my opponent moved the king to e8. If my opponent didn't move the king, this allows this fork here of the rook and the king. So the best move was to move the king, but not to e8, instead to d8. Then I played this fork with queen to h5 with a check, and then I win the bishop. Then my opponent played queen to g8. And then I played knight to b6, attacking the rook. Then the rook has to move. Then I played pawn to e4. The idea of playing pawn to e4 is what happens. It is what's coming next. My opponent is going to take the pawn. Then I take back with the bishop. Then my opponent made the mistake. The best move here was to maybe play another move, not to take the bishop. Taking the bishop allows a checkmate or a mate in 5, which my opponent fell for the trick that I played there, giving up the pawn and the bishop. And then I played rook to f8 with a check with a royal fork. And then I took back. I take the queen. After taking the queen, took my rook. Then the king is forced to move. That's the only square that works. Then what followed after was just forced move, and then that's how the checkmate happened. So that was the game. So that was all. I think the game ended there. So thank you for watching. Please subscribe, like, comment, share. I need that notification bell for the next time I drop. So that's it from me. Bye bye.